Okay, so here's your file, and I made three operations: a a pocketing operation with three operations, including a rest roughing, and I'll talk about that in a second. The simulation will show it. Then there's the V interior V pocketing, and then the vertical V pocketing. And so the thing that a v-carve toolpath will allow you to do is not worry so much about what we're about to see. So the setup is I extracted the lines. I've got all the pocketing lines, which is just the base flat of all of the basically the shape, and then all the vertical lines that lead up the walls of the v-carve. These are the ones that you want to climb. So what that looks like then is for the pocket operation, the geometry selected is just basically the pockets. And so what I did though, now with the in new v26 we have what's called dynamic machining strategy. So I could show you the setup of this really quick if you need to. Oh, actually you're in a Bob Cam. I guess maybe you're waiting for this, but you would have to make a separate feature over here. I have a pocket and a finish pocket, and then I added a third pocket to the strategy. So that would be like doing a pocket with a rough and a finish, and then you would have to create another in your Bob Cam. You would create another feature called pocket, and that's the one that is going to show up over here. And what it's going to do is allow me to use what's called rest roughing, and that gives me a toolpath that looks like that. And so the rest roughing is all these little corners you see. That's where, so it does a pocket, it does a finish on the pocket, then it comes back and it does all the little rest roughing cleanup. And the reason I had to add that in is because that's for the v-carve cleanup. Now, for the interior, with the V tool, I just selected again all the pockets, and then the V tool goes around and creates the wall for the pockets, minus the climbing out of the features. And then of course for the verts, I used another V tool or V 3D thing, and I just selected all my vertical entities like that, and that allowed me to make a 3D toolpath on all the verts. And so what that looks like is, and the simulation will show, you have to have, you have to pick tooling that's going to fit into those corners though, because the vCarve software knows how to do little pocketing in those corners and do the rest roughing. It's all just included, and I just kind of chose some default tools. You'll have to pick your tooling to avoid what you'll see, which is the leftover. Or so let's speed through some a bit. That's just normal pocketing you see at the base level. You're not even worried about the walls. Then it finishes. And then now we're going to do the V carving of the pockets. Oh, that's the rest roughing. So I did a pocket with a 1/2 inch tool. I did a finish with a 1/4 inch tool, and then I told the rest roughing to be a 1/16 inch tool, a 0.0625. So that's to try and cram in those corners as much as I can. Then I V'd all the pockets, and of course you see that leaves the climb out part. All of this stuff is what you're asking about, right? So I just used the 3D engrave on the interior line. And then now, oh, that's the finish one. Let's speed up a little, get past that. It has the 3D engrave has a rough and a finish. And then what I did was I made the third one with all the verts, and that's what it's going back and doing right now. And I just group selected, so you're seeing it bounce back and forth. But if you select the verts like 1, 2, 3, 4, it'll actually follow around that way. But if you just group select, you kind of just you don't give it any real order. And then, so let's just speed that past now that you see that that's what the third one does with those vert lines. And then what you're left with is the little corners that obviously were left. Now, in theory, if that was an open hole, that's cut to depth right there. That's just a little chunk. I could probably grab it with my finger and go nub nub and it would fall off. Or you design your tool path so that that falls out with the tip of your V-bit, right? So anyway, that's it. Or, you know, you flip your workpiece over and then you go around and you just do an engrave on that bottom surface's edges at a very slight depth with that tool, and all those little pieces would obviously just fall off. So different ways. If you do a lot of this kind of work, get v-carve, because it would. I'd go in there. I'd select. All you do is select 2D geometry. You don't have to get all this vertical stuff and try to manually create that toolpath to do it. You just select pocket 2D geometry, and then within the feature you tell it how you're going to do that, and it knows how not to leave those corners and stuff. Anyway, that's what I got.